Whew, what a time.
Right?
Anywho, we're moving on.
It's gonna be a long
And
episode.
this is a long episode, so y'all just gonna have to stick through it. So, in probably the biggest news of the week, WWE has officially been sold. It was announced this past Monday, prior to Monday Night Raw, that World Wrestling Entertainment has been sold to Endeavor, who is the parent company of UFC, and they have merged to create in what they're calling a $21 billion company. So it's probably the estimated sales around 8 to 9. Well, not the estimated sale, but the valuation of WWE is probably around 8 to 9 billion. And they in their words, they are trying to create a new kind of frontier for entertainment and sports. They're apparently going to rename the company, but WWE has officially sold. That quest has ended. Vince McMahon also is joining the Endeavor board and is still a part of WWE as the executive chairman. Apparently, WWE sold. Yeah, WWE has sold. I think about 51% of the company, and WWE stockholders retain about 49% ownership. But I wanted to actually ask you, how did you feel about this sale, and how do you feel like this will affect the future of WWE?
I'm so stuck on the Vince being endeavored because, like, we've been talking about this. And, like, I never believed that he really truly went anywhere. I do believe that Hunter had some control, but I don't really think he really just, like, left. And I saw a report saying something about, Ari Emanuel, I think his name is the one that convinced Vince to not drop from creative role. By the way, fuck you, man, because I feel like he never left. So to hear that he's being endeavored, like, it's, to me, I don't think that we'll ever get a real endeavor until that man actually drops dead, which I don't think is anytime soon because he has way too much money. Because I don't know how he came back, y'all. For all these months, like, we saw him on TV, he was like pale as a ghost, and then he came back. Now he has some color to him. He dyed his hair brown. He got a mustache now. Things are getting weird. Things are really getting it's getting weird. But to answer your question about, like, the UFC buying them, that to me, I mean, I feel like it should have happened sooner. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't happened a lot sooner, considering that they've been collaborating with so many other companies. But I think it's a power move because the UFC is not going anywhere. And it's kind of funny because you always have like two different types of fans. You have the people that, on the UFC side, that make fun of wrestling because it's like, that's not real. I used to watch wrestling when I was younger, but then I watched the UFC because I actually want to see someone take a hit. Right. And then you have people who, of course, appreciate pro wrestling for what it is. So to see the worlds merge is like, it's exciting. It gives me a little bit of anxiety because I don't know what they're going to do with this. Yeah. First thing that came to my mind was, I'm like, God damn it, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are about to get one hell of a push. They're about to be, like, if y'all thought they were annoying before, they are about to be front and center just because they want to represent the UFC in some shape, way, or form. That part was crazy to me. Just, wow. What do you think about this?
So, for starters, I may have to agree with you that in my opinion, it looks like Hunter kind of floated the boat and kind of steered the ship temporarily as the sale was in process. And in the moment that, it was announced that he was sold, they kind of went back to the way that things were. I mean, as we heard with Raw, there were so many changes during the Raw after Mania. There were 3, I think some guy got like 3 different rundowns in like 45 minutes of just a bunch of changes to the show. So it looks like things are back to the way that they are. I feel like because of Triple H's, rapport with backstage and with his kind of leadership and how everybody kind of loves him, I feel like he was being propped up, one, because he is an amazing leader. We've seen him in NXT do his thing, and it seems like he curates and knows how to get people behind him, as he should, because he's a fantastic wrestling mind. But it kind of also feels like he was propped up until the sale was made, because when we talk about employee morale and we talk about a workplace and having a nice, pleasant workplace, like, companies look at that. You know what I'm saying? Like if they want to buy a company, they're going to look at the way something is ran and how the employees are treated, because that all adds into the value of the company. I think that once
Yeah.
the sale was made, there was really no incentive to kind of keep things as they were. And I think that's going to say a lot to the talent. I think that the talent is going to respond accordingly. We've already seen some shades of it. You know, with
Yeah.
Asuka, her tweeting, we've seen Bailey put out some cryptic tweets, and she wasn't even on Raw with Damage Control, which was unfamiliar and surprising to say the least. Um,
Yeah.
but it seems as if things are kind of going back to the way that they are because the sale has been made, right? Like the Endeavor owns 51% of WWE, which means that they have a
But was
majority
this
share.
sale always planned though? Like, I
Uh,
see why Hunter was where he is. It kind of reminds me a bit of like Eric Bischoff and when Paul
mhm,
Heyman were like put into position to, just be the temporary face of the company, even though Vince was there at the time. It feels like
right.
Hunter was thrown in for a similar reason because, duh, you had the allegations going on. And like you
Right.
just said, you want to make sure that you keep your PR looking good and all that stuff. But it's just like, were they planning this all along? But this shit happened with Vince, so this was just like an emergency call, and like Hunter knew this all along and just hid it from the talent.
I don't know, to be completely honest. I don't know if
We'll never
anybody
know.
really knows. I don't think we'll ever know. I just know that when I see things like Triple H getting a $5 million bonus off a sale and Nick Khan getting $15 million off a bonus on the sale, it leads me to believe that, in some world, a lot of the things that we've seen over the past 8 to 9 months were to incentivize or to lure companies into buying WWE, making the company more attractive in order for the value of this company to go up so that they can get the highest return of investment. And I mean, I think that they did just that. Number one, there was a staggering stat that came out. Vince McMahon had purchased WWE for $1 million. The company is now worth $9 billion. And if the sale was for 51%, give or take, that's about $4.6 billion.
Crazy.
So the company got whoever owned the company got $4.6 billion, and a lot of the guys who are major stockholders still have stock in WWE, which means that they still have a good amount of assets tied into the company. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got their return on investment. I mean, the plan worked. They sold to Endeavor. I think that WWE is going to go back to the way that it was in the sense of Vince being in control. We already saw it with the Raw after Mania. I didn't see it as much on NXT, so I think that's a good sign. We'll see
I
what
must
happens
ask, are we going to get more cuts?
as far as camera cuts. Oh, you
No.
mean like
You
releases?
remember, like, every 6 months we were on the edge of our seats? Like, are we going to revisit that again?
I don't think we're going to get like the larger amounts. I think that from at least from the outside looking in, it looked like they were just trying to trim the fat so that they can drive profits, so that they can be more attractive to companies, because by the time they sold to Endeavor, they had like multiple record-setting profitable quarters in WWE. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're not going to get the layoffs at the extent to where we used to get them.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do see some cuts coming. If Vince McMahon is involved and Vince McMahon has creative control, there's
Bye,
certain
Alexa.
guys I do. there's certain people there's certain people that I don't see Vince utilizing, and I see that I also feel like there's going to be certain talent that Vince is going to overutilize once again. But we'll see as it pertains to that. But once again, I definitely expect to see, from a creative standpoint, the fact that this is with UFC, or not with UFC, but they're under the same parent company. I expect to see a lot of crossovers. We've been talking about Conor McGregor coming to WWE forever, and now it seems more possible than ever. Um, Especially with them heading to the UK in the summer with Money in the Bank. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little Conor McGregor appearance out there. Um,
Mm.
I think that there's a lot of crossovers that can happen. I think there are some that will happen, and I'm very very eager to kind of see where it goes. But That's all I really had to say about the WWE sale. But obviously, this is huge. But I wanted to know what everybody else was thinking as it pertains to WWE selling to Endeavor, selling 51% of their company.